Hi, this is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
It's a bird. It's a plane.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to The Krypton Report,
the All Things Kryptonian podcast, including Superman and Supergirl.
We discuss games, movies, cartoons, TV shows, and comics.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. It's the holiday season again, and at Krypton Report, we've created a holiday guide for our listeners. It's a couple of different items that you can purchase through the Amazon portal for Southgate. You can go through the link through Amazon, and part of the proceeds of your purchase goes to support our show and other shows on Southgate Media. Also, for any geek, nerd, or genre lover, check out all the other Southgate Media holiday guides. And from us to you, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and beyond. Welcome to the Krypton Report. I'm Tyler. Sorry, I'm just playing.
Dang, now you just made me hiccup again.
Poor James here is hiccuping, and we've been trying to think of different ways before we got on mic, trying to help them go away, and nothing is working. But welcome to the Krypton Report. I am Tyler, and this is with always my trusty sidekick, partner in crime, PIC, James.
Yeah, hello. Hopefully this will dissipate here soon.
So we got some news to talk about. We're just going to kind of dive in. It's late. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I've had to deal with extra children all day. It's been a whirlwind of a day. But first of all, the holiday season is upon us. And you know what I forgot to do, James, this year? Because, this year was just like, Hades on Earth. I was going to go buy, I still can do it, but I wanted to go buy, Ollie's has the repaint Justice League Superman figure. And I was going to go buy it, and I was going to paint it with some plastic paint. Instead of doing Elf on the Shelf, I was going to do Superman and have, Santa Superman, watching the kids everywhere and, move it around the house and stuff like that. But I thought of it last year because, I thought, oh, man, that'd be cool. And then I just kind of forgot, because the world exploded. And
yeah, right.
I was like, man.
I've forgotten to do mine, too.
I was like, because I think Elf on the Shelf is retarded, but not retarded, I'm sorry.
The kids love it.
But I prefer, I would rather bring in Superman, because I feel like Superman is the man. So,
Superman took their elf Rosie for a flight around the living room.
Nice.
Last year, or the year before. So, I forgot to get her out this year, but they also haven't said anything. So if they do, I'm gonna say it was COVID.
Good. COVID.
Said the elf stayed in the North Pole because of COVID.
Speaking of COVID, we just want to, thoughts and prayers out to our buddy Brian, who is battling COVID right now, as is his wife.
How are they doing? I haven't heard from him. I mean, he's still messaging, but he hasn't really said anything about how they're doing, how they're feeling.
He is starting on the upswing, and she is taking a harder hit down. That was the last message I got from him earlier today. I was really sick last week, so we're a little late recording. We thought I might have had COVID, but I never thought I would say this in my life. Luckily, it was just the flu.
Right.
But I was real sick, and I'm still getting over it. But I did take my COVID test, and it came out negative. But I still feel really just kind of tired and weak. But Janine and I are both down for, I don't even remember last week, honestly. It was a huge blur.
The flu will kick your butt too, man.
So, and my cousin, he's a nurse, and he's telling me about how there's a bad thing, the flu going around. And I'm like, well, that's what I had. So we are recording a little bit later than we wanted to as far as getting this episode out. That's why we're going to talk about some stuff, have a good time. So let's jump back into news. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. So Ava DuVernay, director, who directed Selma, which was, I think it's the only film that she's done that I've seen. I really enjoyed that film.
I haven't seen any. That's one I wanted to see. I have not seen it, but yeah.
I think that's the only one of hers.
And I haven't seen A Wrinkle in Time, so.
That one I wanted to see just because Chris Pine's in it, but it just it just did not look that great.
Well, I heard that they did a good job adapting the story. It's from what I understand, it's actually a pretty difficult thing, kind of like Lord of the Rings was.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I was kind of wondering.
Who do you know? What do you know? What do you know? I've never read the story, so I don't know.
That's another reason I feel like I have the ability to be like, oh, okay, I've never read it, so I'll just take it for what it is. But she is supposedly, was announced to direct New Gods, and that's kind of been quieted. But she was announced that she's going to produce for the CW a new series based on the recently created Brian Michael Bendis character of Naomi. So there we go. That's going to be one of our new CW DC heroes. We're going to have Naomi, which is interesting because we're getting all these new characters. We have like this rich history of characters, but we're getting new ones brought to the screen that people don't even have familiarity with. And I don't know, like, if the CW DC brand is strong enough for that. Like how like Marvel could do a movie right now and be like Marvel's whatever, and it would sell because it has that Marvel Studios brand attached to it.
Right.
But we have Batwoman coming, who's a completely new character. We're going to get Naomi, who is known really to only comic book fans because she's only been around for under 2 years.
Well, thankfully the CW has a strong brand of its own, and then it's been running strong for DC content for quite a while now. I mean, honestly, since 2001, but mainly since Arrow started. So,
and that's what I'm wondering, because we're going to get this Amazon Wonder Girl series about a Wonder Girl that's completely new. So that's cool, though.
Yeah, I mispronounced her name. I mispronounced her name last time we spoke about it, but it's Yara Flor.
Okay.
Flor.
I mean, I'm interested in reading her story, like when it comes out, because it's not out yet.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm actually quite interested in that one, just as a new character, a new Wonder Girl, daughter of an Amazon and a Brazilian rain god.
That's cool. It expands the mythology, so that makes it more interesting. So I'm game. It's just
over the years of some Wonder Woman, there's been a lot of different Amazons who have left the island for different reasons, so that there's been a number of them that she's come across or knew of over the years, and then like in Titans, they have people off the island and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had to have Donna Troy. I guess I kind of like to see Cassie Sandsmark get some sort of screen time somewhere, but it's hard when you're like a legacy character, like a Tim Drake, where everyone loves your character in the comics, but every time they put a live action version, they use somebody else but steal elements from you. It just gets tough,
Right. Yeah, Tim especially. I mean, he's the third Robin, and the fourth one is the current Robin, and then the first one is Nightwing, and then your second one is now come to popularity with his second persona as Red Hood. I mean,
and the fact
kind of lost in the fray.
They stole Tim's costume and retconned it as Dick's costume in Batman the Animated Series, and Batman Forever, and everything else. They gave Dick the bow staff, and kept
the tiny shorts and the elf booties, those were done in 1960s.
Those should have never been done, period. But
yeah.
So moving on, did you know, out of all the movies they've talked about, I forgot that they had announced they were going to do like a series called The Amazons that was going to be produced by Patty Jenkins, and was supposed to be like about the Amazons or on the island, and it was going to somehow lead into what would be Wonder Woman 3, and they were going to do it as a movie, but now they're doing it as a series. Did you remember this? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about it.
I remember the when they were discussing it as a movie before, and now recently, they've said it's morphed into a series now.
And I'm hoping we still get a Wonder Woman 3.
Which, of course, they want to adapt as much as they can to put on HBO Max, draw in the subscribers for HBO Max, extra patrons. And then, I mean, in my opinion, that's the better way to go to tell a lot of these stories for these characters, a longer form than a movie, but not quite your network length, So I think a few seasons and they get straight to the point. I think we'll see some pretty amazing content moving forward from both DC and Marvel.
I agree. Let's see. Keeping in that same vein, before I get to the next point, just worth mentioning, they dropped a lot of new Wonder Woman posters. And my favorite poster for Wonder Woman 1984, they actually just dropped as a new one. I shared it on our social media. And I got thinking, like, I messaged you and Brian, this is like, just from like a marketing point of view and almost from a story point of view, I'm surprised they didn't go with like a new alternative Wonder Woman costume. It's like kind of in the vein of the Wonder Woman Odyssey story, a little bit more 80s inspired. Instead of that way, like if we're looking at these movies linear and when we get to BVS, she puts back on her Amazon armor after supposedly, walking away from mankind and not wearing it. But it was just a thought I had, because it could have been kind of cool to see. And then did you remember they were thinking about doing a Plastic Man movie?
I heard that was in development, quite a while ago. But that's all that ever came of it,
So they changed the screenwriter, and it's now going to have a female lead. So it's Plastic Woman, I guess. It's going to be a female leading vehicle. And, Plastic Woman, I'm not even going to go down the jokes and everything that can be made from that. But, cool, whatever. It's not like a character that's really screaming. I mean, I think that movie could be fun just because if you don't take it serious and like kind of really get zany a little bit with it, it could be a really kind of fun style of movie. So
yeah, I mean, I don't have a real opinion on the gender swap of the character. I just hope, it's going to be interesting. I know of the character. I've seen him portrayed in different things, mostly cartoons and some comics. And if those were, those all seem to be very similar portrayals of the character, wisecracking and kind of nuts and things like that. If they keep certain elements of the character and the spirit of the character, I'm going to see it.
Yeah,
I'm going to check it out.
I always thought, a few years back, like Johnny Knoxville would have been a great Plastic Man. And in all reality, he could still
just after his Jackass days.
In all reality, he could still do it because you can get away with like having that like de-aging computer sheen on a character called Plastic Man, who's supposed to look like plastic.
Yeah. He doesn't. He literally. Yeah, he doesn't look normal.
So, but
unless he really wants to. But anytime he's doing anything, he can just. He just morphs, and he can be anything. Like he's more versatile than just about any other shape shifting and elastic type character, because like he can morph into anything.
Mm-hmm. And then, so to mention, we ran a poll on our social media, Twitter, and the poll results were not that tight, but people do want to see a better, more accurate cyborg Superman on Superman and Lois.
Yes, please. I definitely have to say that the Hank Henshaw version on Supergirl was laughable, and honestly, they should have just kept Dean Cain around and kind of, twisted the idea that the cyborg Superman from the New 52 was Kara's father. I mean, this way they could at least say it's her adopted father.
Yeah, I mean, at least if
You
he would
know?
have said, "I'm Cyborg Superman," we all could have got like a meta chuckle, like, haha. You know,
Right.
when Hank Henshaw, portrayed by David Harwood, says it, you're kind of like, that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
You look more like
And
Kano
then all he
from
did
Mortal
was
Kombat.
Yeah, and then all he did was wear like a friggin' hoodie or a cloak and have some half of his face like cyborg Phantom of the Opera look.
Yeah, there we go. Fan of the Opera, Kano, whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat games.
Kano,
so.
yeah, that's who he looked like.
So speaking of Kano, HBO Max decided that they're going to drop their entire 2021 slate on HBO Max for a 30-day window, just like they're doing with Wonder Woman. So they're going to do that in theater at the same day, which is pretty exciting for the sheer fact, like I told you, is now it feels like for sure the movies will be released. You know, Warner Brothers, I think more than any studio, has rearranged the dates for films and pushed films back. So now at least I know for sure, like, Mortal Kombat is one, The Matrix 4, The Conjuring 3, Dune, King
Godzilla
Kong
versus
King.
Kong.
Yeah, which Solomon has repeatedly asked, because that was originally supposed to come out before COVID. It was supposed to come out in the spring of last year.
Like April, I think, was when it was supposed to come out.
Yeah, was it April of 19? Or when did Kingdom
No, I
Hearts-
think it was supposed to come out this year, April of this year.
Yeah, it's supposed to be April of this year. Yeah, and
I believe.
and then they pushed it to November, and then they took it off the slate next year. So
Yeah, because it did get pushed once, and then then it got removed.
because that's one Solomon's really been looking forward to. So
I did tell Bella about that one, and she got pretty excited about that idea.
So it's one of those things that, I would love to go see them in the theaters, and I hope to be able to. But at least now I can breathe, because now I know I'm going to get to see it, and I can watch it with Solomon.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Like Wonder Woman, I'm going to see at home, and then I am going to try and go see it at the theater, as long as it's near me, because I definitely want to see it on the big screen, even if I go by myself and just sit in a corner, wear my mask, and just watch the movie, and then come home, and then I have repeat viewings. I can watch it as many times as I want in a month until it's gone.
I can go watch it in the theater, then come home and watch it again.
Exactly.
Yeah, because especially with that one, that is a movie that is like any kind of big sci-fi like Dune, Kong, Godzilla versus Kong. That is just made for seeing on the big screen. Like that is a movie that you want to see as big as possible. So,
right. So I keep hearing this, that the only one I've seen that actually spoke out and said something to this whole thing was Christopher Nolan. And to me, his response just sounds kind of pretentious. But I keep seeing reports of like all these other directors and even actors. Like I heard of a report that said Keanu Reeves is upset that they're putting The Matrix 4 on HBO Max. I'm like, what does that guy ever get upset about? Like, that doesn't sound right. I think they're just saying everybody's upset about it now.
I think there's one thing, like, you'd have to get into a lot of it, like the legal aspects, because there's percentages the actors get for box office stuff like that. So if their contracts aren't set up for any kind of like streaming, like back revenue, it could be, frustrating, because they're only going to get money from the box office. But if people are just doing HBO Max and the box office isn't, churning, and I mean,
yeah, but you also gotta think too, like the actors, people who worked on those movies. Honestly, they're a small percentage of the people who worked on those films, and they do get paid, but they also get paid as the movie is released and as the movie makes money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when they sit on these movies for a year or God knows how much longer they would have to sit on it, a lot of these people aren't making money. Like, I mean, it's kind of like the Zack Snyder Justice League problem where they cut out so many people and so much of that film that a bunch of people didn't get paid.
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't get paid for the work they put in.
There are contracts that are like a delayed payment where you get paid a little bit up front, and then the majority of your pay comes from revenue of the project. And if there's no, so I mean, I understand that, and like what the other thing that makes me mad is like you said, Christopher Nolan's response seemed pretentious, and I'm like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. People are losing money left and right, and I understand artistic integrity. But at the same time, if you've made this project and nobody's going to get to see it, like what good is it? I mean, look at your film.
Exactly, but it's not an art show. You know what I mean? You're not putting up paintings that only you worked on, that only the revenue is going to come back to you. And you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I'm just saying how a lot of people are looking at things like they have the art of cinema, and I get that. But at the same time, that's also changing. Like how people want to view movies and everything. And
it's been changing for a long time.
I mean, I get you want your movie in the theater and all that, and I mean, look what happened to Tenet. Everyone thought Tenet was going to come and be the one that pulls people back to the theaters, and it didn't work. And I've said it before, partially because it didn't have the draw of everybody. Like, something like Wonder Woman, it's not a family film, but it's a movie I would go to the theaters with my kids.
Yeah. Well, Tenet, the movie's out. The movie's been out, and I don't know what it's about. I haven't seen it yet. And I like Christopher Nolan.
And that's the thing, is just it wasn't a big enough draw for people to be like, you know what, I'm going to risk going to the movie theaters for Tenet? Nah, it's okay. I'll wait. So look what happened to your theater, your movie. And also I can feel like, in a way, everything that Warner, because I mean, all these movies they're talking about for their slate, most all of them were supposed to have come out this year. Or they were looking at now 2022, but because I thought The Matrix was pushed to 2022, but now it's back on 2021. So a lot of these movies were what was supposed to be in 2020, and if you think about it, like from a marketing point of view, you've already exhausted some of your marketing outlets. Like all the Kong toys, like we've seen them, the King Kong versus Godzilla toys and stuff like that. Like they're gonna fade away before the movie even comes out for people to get hyped to want to buy.
Yeah, Wonder Woman 84. A lot of the toys are on clearance already.
Yeah,
from their second or third marketing push.
So movies like that make a lot of money from their marketing and toys and accessories and stuff like that, and they're not going to make any of that because they don't have the film to sell. But we digress. Anyways, let's get into the meat. Today, we got our first official look at Tyler's new Superman suit for Superman and Lois. James, what do you think?
I like it a lot. CW is taking a step up with their last two suits. The Batwoman suit was really good. This looks very good. I like it. I'm glad they got rid of the cape clips.
Okay, yep. So let's break it down. First thing, it looks like the bodysuit, the main blue part, is very, very much similar to the same. This is the first photo of like the reveal photo. I can't wait to see the set photo when you actually kind of see it in the daylight. So they got rid of the cape clips. Awesome. That right there makes it so much better.
Loads better.
They looks like the same style.
That was almost the worst part of the old suit.
The cape clips and the belt, man.
Yeah.
So it looks like the S shield is still the same style, but it looks like it's darker in color, and it shrunk down a little bit.
Yeah, it's not the entire chest. It is a little bit smaller. It's not quite as small as, like, say, Brandon Routh in Superman Returns, but it's definitely not as big as the old symbol or a Dean Cain symbol.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right there in the middle. It's a good size, and I'm glad they got rid of the little, what looks to be like clips or something on the outside
of
the shield.
Yes.
Those look to be gone, which is nice.
The cape itself looks to be a much better material than that, like, really heavy looking leather that was there.
Yeah.
That never made quite sense to me, like his cape to be that. When you look at Supergirl's cape, it looks to be much more in the vein of the material that was made for Supergirl's cape. You know, the next big thing is, like, his wrist looks like it almost has like the ending is a little bit similar to the new 52 is. It's kind of squared off. Looks almost like...
Kind of goes over the back of the hand just a little bit.
Just a little bit, you know. And that's okay. You know, it looks like a guard almost, like a protecting his wrists or hands if you look at the other arm.
It does look kind of like a gauntlet almost, like, say, like Wonder Woman or Batman, but it looks like it's just, like, designed into the suit almost.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like it stands out or like it's a different piece or anything.
One thing I don't like about this picture is we don't see the boots, because from the top of the boots and the blurry set photo we got, looks like they're new boots, because I really hate the boots he had before. And I hate that we don't see the boots.
They look like the future boots that Damascus wears in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Dang, that's pretty dope, actually.
That's what Superman's old boots look like.
And then the last is we have a much, much better belt. It's slimmer. It's kind of like the honestly, the design, not the color, is like the Rebirth design or the Reborn design, because it comes across then dips down and has a triangle, or, you know, not triangle, shield. I told you I'm tired.
Yeah, like a shield shape.
It has a little bit of gold on the outline, kind of like his other belt had that little bit of gold in it.
Yeah, it's kind of got the gold in the same spot, but just the design, the shape is different. It
just looks better, because to me that's like doing the belt at that kind of an angle. I think really helps pull the attention and gives almost the illusion of trunks without there being trunks.
Well, I think also the slanted helps kind of give him that V taper.
Yeah,
kind of makes it look like his waist is smaller than his shoulder base, so he looks more muscular than he did in Supergirl.
Yeah, he does. I mean, the way that other belt just went around him was like, blah.
And the blue is still two-tone like it was in Supergirl, but
yeah, a little bit.
And the material looks the same.
It's interesting.
It still looks good.
To put her costume, like her newest costume photo release, when she got the pants costume versus his. So it's a good looking costume. Like, I just want to see the boots. I'm happy with it. I can't wait to see a set photo, which means we'll probably get like a set photo within the next day or two. But it looks good, you know. There'll be people complaining. There's always someone complaining. It's not what they want. There's no trunks, blah, blah, blah. But I think staying with him and what they've established, but yet, you know, changing it, it looks a lot better. I'm very happy with the cape and the symbol. It's refreshing. I can't wait to see it in action.
So I like the suit. I can't wait to. The reveal looks good, and I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see it in action. Which we only have to wait till February, so
It's not too
that's
far
awesome.
off.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be good. I'm excited, I'm trying to stay positive. February, my birth month, but it's just, I really want to see the boots. That's gonna be kind of make or break. I think, the belt for Tyler's new costume, I think works better than what the idea was. They were trying to go with like the Man of Steel style, and BVS, middle. Like we just had our huge episode on costumes. So I just, I like it. I like the belt. I like it a lot. I like the two-tone blue, and I just can't, like I said, just can't wait to see it. Like, 'cause that was my thing with his first costume, was I was like, on that first photo, but then when they showed him on set photos, I was like, oh, okay. I had a new appreciation for it, so that's kind of what I'm waiting for this. Oh, but moving forward, we're going to get back on the Legion train. We've kind of been off the Legion train while we went on our detours. And we're going to talk about Legion Season 1, Episode 4. And I'm really hoping that Legion, like, we're going to get to stay around. Because we were talking about it, this is our last month for DC Universe, and I'm trying to watch it as much as I possibly can. I probably should just turn it on in my basement and leave it on. But like,
Yeah, right.
I can definitely, like, there's been little glitches and stuff in it. I feel like they just don't care about it right now. I'm hoping that.
Well, I'm sure the updates they're doing is for the flip to improve the reader, and they're adding more comic content until the switch happens.
And I'm just kind of, I'm bummed because, like, on the comic side, and this doesn't make sense to me because you're trying to promote the comic side. Like last year, there was a whole tab of just like their holiday comics, and now there is no like tab or anything for the holiday comics. So I'm just kind of bummed.
I see they just added the New Year's comic.
So I mean, there's comics in there, but like he doesn't have the whole like big like drop down tab where like you could pick on holiday. They don't have all the comics, all the episodes that went along with the Christmas season or the holiday season. It's kind of a bummer. But anyways, so Legion. It is one of those that I'm just kind of worried about because it, the biggest awesome thing about DC Universe was we had our own little niche, fun, like this is ours, this is our shows, our comics, and now I'm kind of like, well, am I going to still get my old stuff? Because, like, that's one thing I've loved is, like, watching Wonder Woman. Watching Superboy. Like, I've been trying to finish.
Superboy, Super Friends, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League. Yeah, I want all that old content to go to HBO Max.
And I want it to go there and stay there. Like, I'm really tired of stuff going on a streaming service and then being gone. Because that was always one of my big issues with just, people talking about streaming services and like, I love my streaming service. And I'm like, well, like, they're like, oh, why do you still have your physical copies? It's on Netflix. Yeah, for how long? How long do I get my show before they drop it from streaming and then I'm back to, oh man, I want to watch this, but
Right.
it's not.
Plus,
streaming.
what if my internet goes out?
Oh yeah,
My internet goes out. I can't watch anything because all my stuff's digital. Nope. I just go grab the Blu-ray off and pop it in.
So I mean, that's my thing. Is like I like the old stuff, the stuff that that no one else is fighting for on a streaming service. We know that like the original content is going to HBO Max, and it's being promoted as such. I want everything. Okay, but let's get into Legion. So the episode, I actually really enjoyed this episode, and it was called Fear Factory.
Yeah, that was a good one.
This is one I wish I would have known about for Halloween. It's basically them on like a haunted house with a very Igor type character and a Dracula type character. And each member of the Legion that's there, Bouncing Boy, Superman, Brainiac 5 / Solomon, because he has come to love Brainiac 5. And Saturn Girl, right? Oh, Saturn Girl, yes. Have to face their fears. And I thought it was a really cool episode. The first off, when it started, I was like, wait a minute. They're seriously ripping off aliens. And then it's kind of like acknowledged that it's supposed to be kind of a thing. But I was like, wow, that was straight up alien.
Right. Yeah, they did have some like haunted house horror, Universal Monsters vibes going on, but then yeah, they did have that alien thing going on too. That was a monster from one of Bouncing Boy's movies, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So, it was, and you find out like Lightning Lad's fear was like a clown, basically. Bouncing Boy was his scary movies.
It was a toy clown he had. It was funny.
Saturn Girl's fear. What was Saturn Girl's fear? Why can't I remember? Oh, roller coaster. And I thought that was weird.
Yeah. And you know what? It gave me a Dead Silence vibe because every time they would scream, they would get sucked into the painting. They would get sucked in and then become one of those paintings. But if they didn't scream, they wouldn't get they wouldn't get sucked in. Like they told her not to scream.
And I mean, it was interesting when Superman grabbed her and like she just slipped through his fingers. And he was like, I had her in my hand and she like was gone. And it was in Superman's fear was, I thought, Brainiac, we don't realize Brainiac makes a backup of himself, interacts with the computers. They find out it's all a giant computer that's causing this. And, Superman's fear that he has to face is basically he can't save everyone because he doesn't realize that he has Brainy's backup and that he thinks Brainiac dies. And then when the rest of the Legion gets free, they're like, we'll just use his backup. And Superman's, what, like this? He's like, yeah, that's it. And it was really interesting. And another thing that was interesting was how Solomon, he got so frustrated because he's like, he's not Superman, he's Superboy right now. Why don't they call him Superboy, Daddy? I'm like, I don't know. Company politics.
Yeah, it could be.
But it was a good episode. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm actually really enjoying the Legion period. And watching with my kids has actually been fun. So they're mad because Timberwolf hasn't showed back up yet. So that's been kind of funny. They're like, Daddy, what happened to the other guy? The one from the last episode. I'm like, the wolf? Yes. I'm like, good job, children.
Right. Yeah, it was funny. I was wondering if he'd show up. I mean, they only name dropped him in like one episode.
Yeah, he'll be back.
I'm sure.
But all right. So the next episode was entitled Champions. And this one, because my kids are in this big like thing right now where anytime we watch a show or a movie or whatever, they like pick out characters that represent themselves. And it's kind of funny, and sometimes it's even more funny because I started it one day just to make Solomon laugh, and he's caught on to it. Like, for example, in this episode, Solomon, of course, he's Brainy. Brainy wasn't in this one. Sayla is Saturn Girl. I'm Superman. Love my children. And Jania is Phantom Girl. And through the episode, he'll say things like, "Daddy, what are you doing?"
I have a question about Phantom Girl.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
First episode, they portrayed her as if she's blind. And that's how they draw her with her eyes wide open, like she's blind. But they portrayed her as blind in the pilot. Like, she even said something about not being able to see something. And she just kind of had the eyes, and she stared in one direction, like when people were talking to her, and she was talking to them and acknowledging them. But in this episode, she was acting like she could see. She even called a boy cute.
Yes. See, I knew something fell off. So
I wanted to actually look her up before we got on. I forgot to.
Well, we have these handy
to find out
things called.
If only there was something we could do, some device that would allow us to.
The Encyclopedia Britannica. I'll write a letter.
Right? Who's got an encyclopedia?
I'll write a letter to DC Comics. But I like this episode. Lightning Lad is participating in basically like the Olympics, the games.
Like a decathlon.
And we meet his brother. And his brother is a tool bag who just keeps basically sabotaging Lightning Lad every step and every chance he can get. And it's really kind of sad when you think about it because they're brothers and they don't get along. And it just kind of sucked because the whole episode, all you ever see is, his brother's cheating, and you find out he paid off a judge, which comes back to bite them. But what I found very interesting, as I pointed out to Solomon, was the scene where Lightning Lad is kind of winning, but one of the other contestants gets hurt, and Lightning Lad stops and helps the fallen contestant, And I told Solomon, I'm like, that's how a good sportsman works. Gotta teach my kids right. So.
Well, that's why Lightning Lad's a hero, and why his brother Mecht was a douche.
Not only is he just a bad character, he's a douche.
Yes.
And I think his brother eventually becomes like a super villain.
That makes sense.
I can't remember because I'm not that well versed in, the Legion as I probably should be. I don't know. I think I'm going to put forth more.
No, I'm even behind on my current Bendis Legion reading too. Probably got what do I got? Probably 5 issues to read. I've got them. I just haven't read them yet. But that's how much Bendis's writing excites me for at least his DC characters. I heard he did some great things over at Marvel, but
it kills me. But we're almost done with Bendis.
He's definitely had many more misses in DC in all of his issues. I haven't read Naomi yet, so I don't know how good that is. Young Justice was okay here or there, but it was, Bendis continuity then. It wasn't the whole DC universe continuity as it was at the time. And same thing was with his Superman books, which I'm still waiting to hear who the team is going to be for those books, because they haven't revealed who the team. They've only revealed like a handful of teams who are going to be on different books come March after Future State is over.
I feel like they're holding off. I don't know why, but I feel like they're holding off on that one. So it's weird. Like, one thing I always hate is you get these writers who come in who take over a book and they want to write the character, but they spend the first part of their writing retooling everything they didn't like about what the person before them did. Instead of just being like, okay, this is what the writer before me done, this is where the character's at, they're like, let's get rid of this.
Well, for Bendis's work here, just let's say Action Comics. I mean, the Invisible Mafia, he started it with his first run, or with his first issue in Action Comics, and it's still going on. And you know how it seems to end? Leon just literally walks out of a building filled with FBI people and writes a note to Robinson Good saying that she's going to kill the Robinson Good of some other world when she runs into her.
Yeah.
Like, what? She walked out of a building filled with FBI agents.
She threw the blame quickly that Lois wasn't really the Lois of this earth, and then left.
Yeah, and then walked out. Like, it was so stupid.
And it just kills me, because I'm like, your whole run is all about, and you see this, like, a writer comes in, they build their own little pocket universe with the character, the story, all the side characters, because, legally and everything, if they create a character and it gets picked up, like, they control that character. So, like, of course he's going to try to infuse and create Naomi and do as much with her as possible, because it's his original character. And then they're gone, and then will any other writer really pick up those characters and continue on? I mean, Bendis got rid of John as quickly as possible. I mean, I don't mind John being a part of the Legion. I hate a lot of what they did with him, but I think there was different ways to do it. But anyways, I mean, he brought Connor back. That's cool, but still, that makes little sense. But it's comics.
Well, also, yeah. I mean, she, you talk about Connor got sent to Dr. Glory, sent him to Gemworld, but this was supposedly pre-Flashpoint. So she would have sent him pre-Flashpoint, and that's why he wasn't affected by Flashpoint. But wouldn't her and Leon have been affected by Flashpoint, because they would have had to travel to Earth Zero before Flashpoint? Like, it's like, it makes no sense.
Yep. It hurts your brain. It really hurts your brain. Any luck finding out Saturn Girl's blind?
I have not. I'm reading through her wiki right now.
If anyone out there knows anything about Saturn Girl and her blindness or non-blindness, please.
Yeah, let us know. Because I swear they portrayed her like that in the pilot, and then this episode in particular, because she popped up here and there and a couple others. Like, she was there when Timberwolf was inducted into the Legion, but she didn't have anything to do in the episode. And this is the first episode I can remember, and we're only 5 episodes in, and I can't. It's the only one that she's been a major player in since the pilot, and yeah, I don't see. Or it was a drastic change, because they still drew her wide-eyed and everything.
Maybe it was just a conscious choice to change it, because of whenever maybe production was going. Who knows? We'll see what we can find. We'll see what we can dig up. But I like this episode. We find out that the Fatal Five is really trying to kill Phantom Girl's mom. And
yeah, the United Planets president. Her mother is the president of the United Planets.
And Mech is, he kind of was helping them because they were disguised as the judges. And when they go to fight, like some of the other contestants that were participating in the games join in. And the one dude who's from Rand was helping, but man, like Jania pointed out, she's like, it's kind of convenient for a villain if every time you go to do something, you have to say out loud what you're going to do. Because he's like, super speed, super strength.
Yeah, I said that too. I said, what is the point of him doing that? Does he have to call out his powers? Like, can he do anything, but he has to call it out first?
Because I was like, if he whispers it, does it count? If he says it in a different language? If he says it really soft? Or does he have to say it really loud? Like, what's the rules here? Because, that would be horrible. Like, super speed. What was that? Nothing. Quick, chase him.
Right.
Super speed. He's going to use super speed, guys. Fire breath. He's using his fire breath. Brace yourself. So for like the Amazo android in Young Justice, it works. I mean, it makes sense, Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it seems, and it was a hindrance to that character as well. It was its downfall in Young Justice. I mean, kind of seems the same right there for him.
Because he can only do like one power at a time. So it's not like he was like calling out powers and switching and I don't know. It just seemed like it was a very negative ability. But anyways, so
I didn't know that, I didn't know there was a character who could call on just about any power he wanted and do it.
Yeah, and he's from Rand, so I was like, all right.
From Rand, where a simple human with alien technology is the hero, Adam Strange. But they got a guy who can call on any power he wants.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I don't know.
I only know of Rand in certain respects. I don't know about the entirety of Rand and its Rand and Thanagarian War and everything else.
You mean that thing that we were going to explore and learn about more on Krypton, maybe?
In Krypton Season 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing that we were kind of teased?
Wouldn't it be nice to live in the parallel universe where Krypton is getting a Season 3?
And Man of Steel 2 is already out?
Right?
Yeah. It would be kind of cool to live on that parallel Earth.
Man of Steel 2 that came out right after Zack Snyder's Justice League, that actually came out the way it was going to turn out.
Good
And Warner Brothers did knee-jerk reaction for every tiny little opinion that somebody had.
And we digress. But I enjoyed Legion. It was awesome. I highly recommend this series because it's coming. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It's not. I wish there was more Superman in it, just because I wish like it was just a Superman cartoon because I've been dying for another Superman cartoon. But it's not bad. It's not perfect. It's not bad. So.
No, it's no Superman animated series or no Fleischer cartoons, but it's a fun dive into a mostly lost part of Superman's history, where he goes to the future and saves and works with the Legion.
And it's one of those that you just kind of have to, which version of Superman are we looking at? Because, we've talked before, that was all taken out of continuity for the longest time because he wasn't Superboy. But then they tried to have it both ways. Thanks, Jeff Johns. During when he did his
right. Yeah, that comes from Secret Origins. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan of how they've done John, since that's the way John is gone. I would have preferred him staying younger, which I'm glad they're doing a digital first series, Challenge of the Super Sons. So that's going to be cool to check out. Take John back to a 10-year-old. But I do like that is one thing I do like is John being the Superboy that goes to the future, that works with the Legion, that, I mean, even if you do say like time is flowing or something, and maybe Clark did that at some point growing up. Well, now John is the one doing it. I do like the idea that John is the Superboy that, helped to create the United Planets. It was his idea, and to inspire the teenage heroes of the future.
I agree. Anything else you want to add to our discussion? I'm just psyched
this was
about
a good episode. The thing that really stuck out the most to me was Phantom Girl's interaction. I like how Superman could see through their projectors. It was really funny how the giant, the giant strong, psychic creature. I can't remember the name of that character.
Oh, the Fatal Five? Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, the Fatal Five. He was the tiny little guy, but then when his illusion wore off, he was the giant monster.
It was. I can always remember. Was it Empress and Persecutor? Right. That's his.
Yeah.
Persuader.
Persuader.
I need to go to sleep.
The Empress, the Emerald Empress. What did they call that guy? Mao. Something like that. Similar to. Yeah. The radiation guy, and then they had a half cyborg, and then the giant guy. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
The last thing I'm going to say here is we now have 2 different Tyler Hoechlin Superman suits, and you've yet to produce me a figure, McFarlane Toys.
Right.
I'm looking at my Tom Welling
did you see
figure.
McFarlane? Oh, yeah.
My Brandon Routh. My Henry Cavill. But
Did you see that McFarlane is doing a Red Sun figure?
I did. I showed it to Solomon.
That's going to be cool. And they're also doing a Death Metal figure. I'm going to have to get that one, too.
That just screams James. You just need to let your hair grow.
I can't. You know what? I really want to know what happened to Superman. Because he's like going dark side. He's turning rock.
Yeah.
And I really want to know what the backstory is with that version of Superman. I don't think they've given it to us yet, and I've read just about everything. I haven't read the last Tales yet. I have that one, the last stories of the DC universe. I have that.
I gotta pick that up. I'm just being sick and then trying to work more this week, and my shop guy having narrow hours does not help.
Right.
But from us at Krypton Report, enjoy the new Superman suit. Look it up. Send us a message on your thoughts. Please hit us up on Twitter, Facebook,
and
Instagram.
Let us know if Phantom Girl is blind.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. I haven't seen anything in the wiki that says it.
And just remember, James is buff. And
look up in the sky.
Look up in the sky.
Look in the sky.